What time is it? Oh, hold on, I need to do the assignment. Much better. So let's get to cooking. Today we're going to be making two dishes. One of them is a Japanese appetizer called Tako-Yaki, and the other one is going to be a shrimp-filled ravioli with a beautiful rosé sauce. Let's get to it.
We are going to use Tako-Yaki flour, pickled ginger, Kewpie mayo, okonomiyaki sauce, bonito flakes, scallions, taco, which is octopus, and 2 large eggs. Go ahead and chop the scallions finely. Next, we're going to move on to the pickled ginger. Chop that to small diced cubes. In a pot of water, drop a half a piece of lemon and the octopus tentacle. The lemon will help keep the color of the octopus. You want to boil the octopus on very high heat for at least 15 minutes. Using a fork, check the tenderness of the octopus. The fork should pierce right through the skin easily. Next, we're going to move on to making the batter. In a bowl, combine 2 cups of lukewarm water, two large eggs, now go ahead and whisk that together. After it's well whisked, add the flour right in. What you want to achieve is a smooth batter. You don't want any chunks, so whisk it very well. I recommend having everything ready before you start frying it up, and the batter should be in a pitcher for easy pouring. Let's get to cooking. Heat up your takoyaki pan with a large amount of oil, preferably vegetable. Pour in the batter, followed by the pickled ginger, scallions, bonito flakes, and finish off with 1 piece of octopus. Use your chopsticks to gently release the batter from the sides of the pan. Now, using your chopsticks, you want to flip it 90 degrees and then fill up the rest of the batter until it overflows. Once you've achieved that, continue rolling it until a ball appears. You'll know that the takoyaki is ready when they're slightly firm to the touch and not mushy. Transfer it to your favorite plate while they're still warm. Drizzle a generous amount of Kewpie mayo, followed by the okonomiyaki sauce, some scallions, and finished off with the bonito flakes. We're going to move on to the next dish. Before we move on, let me show you a little project that I've been working on while in quarantine. I've started a vegetable garden next to my existing herb garden. The thyme that I'm going to use to give flavor in my shrimp filling is going to be a fresh picked thyme from my garden. We're going to move on to making the olive oil powder with a substance called maltodextrin. You're going to use olive oil and whisk it slightly into the maltodextrin. Now, you'll notice at first that it appears as a paste, but once you get a good whisk on it, you'll see that it becomes a powder. If you think that it's still too pasty, it's okay to add a teaspoon of maltodextrin powder at a time. This is the end result. It should flake off and look exactly like powder, with all the good qualities of olive oil. Next, we're going to move on to prepping the vegetable for the tomato sauce. We're going to start off by peeling the carrots, the celery, and followed by the onions. Remember, to get a clean cut on the onion, keep the root end on. I'm going to transfer it to a container for it to wait for us, and we're going to move on to the carrots. You want to finely dice them, as the smaller they are, the faster they will cook. Moving on to the celery. Slice the bottom of it to make the celery stand still and not rock while you're cutting it. If you can, try to do a double cut motion. Very hard cutting technique, but so satisfying. Now moving on to the garlic. Peel the garlic, and once you cut it in half, if you see that there is a green sprout that it's becoming out of the garlic, just remove it. That green sprout inflicts a very bitter flavor, and you don't want that in your tomato sauce. Use a grater to easily grate the garlic into a fine puree. Moving on to the tomatoes, you're going to remove the green tip and then score them all across the tomatoes using a small paring knife. The scoring of the tomato will help the skin peel off easily when we boil it in hot water. Get water to a rolling boil and a bowl with icy water. Let the tomatoes blanch themselves for 30 seconds and then transfer them to the iced water. You can see how easy it is to peel them only with even one hand. The skin comes right off. Now let us concasse the tomato. You want to cut them in quarters and then using a small paring knife, remove the seeds. The seeds can also inflict a bitter flavor and they can have an undesired texture if the sauce is unstrained, so it's always a good practice to remove them. Chop them up into a medium-sized dice. We're going to move on to making the sauce. Start off with a little bit of olive oil and add the onions to it. What you want to do is you want to sweat the onions, which means low heat and slow time. You don't want to get any color on them. You just want them to release the juices. Once the onion is translucent, add the garlic to it. You want to give that a good stir every time that you add another ingredient. Let's follow up with the chopped celery, and the carrots. Make sure to mix it very well so it will evenly cook. Add the chopped tomatoes and continue sweating them until the tomatoes starts to slightly fall apart. To finish it off, we're going to use 1 tablespoon of tomato paste. Now you want to cook off the tomato paste before you add the water to get rid out of that bitter flavor that it usually has. You want to add water to the vegetables just to cover them. Bring it to a boil, then simmer and lid it. So we're going to move on to making the pasta dough. To make pasta dough the Italian way, we're going to use a special flour called 00 flour. Now what's special about this flour is how finely it is milled. In turn, it would allow the dough to absorb more water, giving a very good texture to the pasta in the end result. We're also going to use two crucial tools to make the pasta. The first tool is called a stamp. That's going to give the shape of the ravioli. It's going to be much easier than cutting it by hand. The second tool is called a sifter. We're going to use a sifter to create airy flour. The aerated flour will allow it to absorb even more water, keeping the texture very, very good. So to make the dough, we're going to need 150 grams of 00 flour, 1 tablespoon of virgin olive oil, 1 teaspoon of fine sea salt, and 1 whole egg and 1 egg yolk. So we're going to start off by sifting the flour and adding the salt to it. You want to mix that very well and then pour it on a counter. Create a well in the middle and drop the egg and the egg yolk in there. Whisk it along with the oil and try not to break it like I did. Break the well and knead the dough until you start to see some kind of shape forming. Once it's firm enough, you can start to knead the dough for a solid 5 minutes. This will help to activate the gluten. After 5 minutes, round up the pasta dough into a nice ball and wrap it with a piece of cling film. Once it's all wrapped, place it in the fridge for at least half an hour. Let's move on to cleaning the shrimp. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to twist off the head from the body. Once we've done that, we're going to use our thumb to push down on the legs, removing them in one go. And then the shell should be easily separating from the body itself. Now if you want to remove the tail, simply pinch it off the body and it will easily come right off. To remove the vein, simply cut on the back of the shrimp and use your fingers to fish that vein out. Sometimes it will be opaque or translucent, but it is always there and you want to remove it. Now once you've cleaned the shrimp, what you want to do is give them a rough chop. Don't chop them too much, because then they're just going to lose a lot of moisture when we cook them. Let's move on to the pan. Throw in a slice of butter, let it melt, followed by 1 clove of garlic, which we've finely minced. Saute the garlic until you start to see that it's slightly browning up. That will be your cue to put in the fresh thyme. Saute that around a little bit. Now we're going to add the chopped shrimp, and you want to cook them for about 2 minutes just so they change color. If you have it on a higher heat, you might even cook it less than 2 minutes. Add pepper, some salt, and continue cooking it off. Add a 1/4 pinch of paprika, preferably smoked paprika, and deglaze the pan with a nice splash of white wine. Let the alcohol burn off and stop the cooking once the shrimp has reached a beautiful red color. Remember, always taste anything that you make just to make sure that you have enough amount of salt and pepper in there. Once the alcohol is burned off, you're good to go. Let's move on to the tomato sauce. Once you see that the oil starts to separate from the water, you know that the sauce is ready, and you should use a hand blender to finely puree the sauce. Remember to adjust the seasoning with some salt and pepper. Now we're gonna strain the sauce. Using a large mesh strainer, just pour the sauce on top of it and use a silicone spatula to really push the sauce through the strainer. What you're gonna end up with is an extremely velvety sauce with no chunks and unwanted bits. Don't forget to scrape the bottom of the strainer, as it contains most of the flavor. There you go, a beautiful sauce. Now our shrimp mixture is gonna go into the blender, and we're gonna chop it up very finely. What you want to achieve is a paste. Next we're gonna work on the dough. So you want to flour the surface a little bit, and then you want to roll out your dough using a rolling pin. You want to do a threefold fold, just like I'm doing right now. You want to repeat the process for 3 times. Now we're going to use a pasta machine to roll out the dough. Each time we will increase the number until we've reached a very thin dough. Using a tablespoon as our measurement, we're going to place 1 tablespoon of the filling on the pasta itself. You want to keep about 2 centimeters gap in between each filling. Repeat the process until you're all out of filling. Using a little bit of water, brush it on the pasta on the places where you're going to fold it. This will help the dough to stick to each other. Fold the dough over the filling in one motion and then press out the air. Pressing out the air will prevent the raviolis from opening up when you're boiling the water and contaminating it. Use the stamp to create the perfect shape and place them on top of a floured wooden surface ready to be cooked. Use 1 ladle of tomato sauce and a dash of 18% cream. Boil the raviolis for about 1 minute and 30 seconds and strain them. Now to assemble the dish, pour a little bit of the sauce. Place the raviolis to the side of the sauce. Sprinkle the raviolis themselves with the olive oil powder that we've made earlier. And finish it off with freshly picked oregano heads for that extra color and flavor. And that is it for the ravioli dish.
These raviolis were so good, like my acting.